Again, here we are back at reading Varjak Paw by SF Syed, illustrations by David McKean, and we are going to move on to chapter 4 today. I don't think I need to sort of recap what's happened so far. We know that there's a bit of a family conflict happening in the Paw family, and regarding a stranger who's come in and is trying to be too good to be true to the Paws. Elder Paw, the head of the family, doesn't trust him. He seems to think that he remembers him from a time long gone ago, long gone. But Father Paw doesn't believe him and has now taken the charge of the family over, accusing Elder Paw for being old and senile, basically. We're going to move on to chapter 4 now. Thank you once again very, very much to all the publishers of SF Said and the author himself for allowing me to do this online. Chapter 4. The moment the grown-ups had left the room, Julius turned to Varjak. "I know why Contessa's not here," he said, digging a claw into the toy mouse. "It's because she can't stand to look at Varjak's eyes." Remember, Julius is always teasing Varjak about the color of his eyes because all the other Mesopotamian blue cats have green eyes and Varjak seems to have these amber-colored yellow eyes, which are just not normal for them. So Julius does pick on Varjak very often about this. Jasmine, Jay, Jethro, and Jerome all stood by Julius's side. No one stood by Varjak's side. He was alone and boxed in by the Contessa's empty armchair. Remember the red velvet armchair that Elder Paul was sitting on earlier on? That's where they still are. The kittens are still there. The elders have left the room. "Poor Varjak," said Cousin Jasmine. But she was smiling as it was some kind of a joke, so not actually being sympathetic towards Varjak at all. She's actually being quite mean and nasty. "Poor Varjak. Why do you always pick on him? I'm sure he'd rather have green eyes like everyone else." "Because they're different," said Jay. "The colour of danger," said Jethro. "He's not one of us," concluded Jerome. Varjak ignored them. Very mature of him, being the baby of the family. He didn't even look at them, staring instead into the fire. "The Contessa's not here because she's probably dead. Didn't you hear?" the elder Paul. "That's enough, insect," snapped Julius. "No one asked you. And how dare you speak in family council? You are a disgrace to the name of Jalal." And there he is, Julius and the others. Julius's tail thudded menacingly on the rug. Very slowly, Varjak looked up and met his big brother's eyes. His own tail started to thud. "Is that supposed to scare me?" sneered Julius. He towered over Varjak Paw. His claws came out. So did Varjak's. "Fight! Fight! Fight! Fight!" Jay, Jethro, and Jerome crowded around the two of them. Jasmine watched, grooming her fine silver blue fur. Varjak shook inside, but he didn't show it, didn't back off either. He'd never had a real fight, and he knew he didn't stand a chance against Julius, but it was as if something inside him was rising up, something old and strong and buried deep. Who did Julius think he was? "Julius, darling, he's only a little kitten," cooed Jasmine in her milk-in-the-morning voice. "He's not even a proper Mesopotamian blue," said Julius. He stared at Varjak with devastating green eyes. An interesting word there, devastating green eyes. His pupils were thin slits of scorn, mocking, challenging, daring Varjak to move first. Varjak couldn't. He couldn't even hold the gaze. It was too strong, too sure of itself. Whatever it was that had risen up within him had gone. He turned away and backed down. It was over. The fight, even before it started, Varjak's giving up, even before trying. Julius had beaten him with just one look, as father had beaten the elder Paw. In the fireplace, the flames sputtered and died. "You are the cause of all this trouble," said Julius. "Apologize for what you've done." "I'm sorry," croaked Varjak. The words were like hot coals in his mouth. Have you ever been in that situation where you had to do something that your heart doesn't allow you to? You have to say something to keep the peace, maintain the peace, and not make the situation even worse, but your heart is just not into it. That's what Varjak sounded like right now. "I'm sorry." "And don't ever do it again, or I'll break every bone in your body." Varjak sloped away from the front room, humiliation scorching his cheeks, a disgrace to the name of Jalal. That hurt the most. He didn't care what Julius thought, but Varjak had always felt close to his ancestor, always loved the tales. He couldn't bear the thought of being a disgrace to him. "You wait," he said to an imaginary Julius in his head. "You just wait. One day I'll show you." There was no one in the hallway. It didn't matter if he was caught going out into the garden now. Things could hardly get any worse. Varjak went up to the back door, nudged the cat flap open, and slid silently out. That's his first time. The garden was a dark, gloomy place, full of gnarled old trees. They'd bent backwards on themselves, grown inwards, and locked together, making a tangled net of knotted wood. Do you know what that means? Knotted wood, like everything's knotted up. It was hard to see the sky through them. Beyond the trees lay the stone wall that enclosed the Contessa's house and garden. It was so high that no one in the family could imagine climbing it. Even Varjak, who could sometimes make it halfway up in a curtain before mother or father shouted down. He drank in the cold night air. Imagine being outside in the fresh air. Peered at the massive wall, the tangled branches, remember the knotted tangled branches, and thought he could see a thin white whisker of moon up there, far, far away. Varjak, it was the elder Paw. He was on his own at the bottom of the garden, by the crumbling roots of a dying tree. Varjak padded over to join him. "I'm sorry, elder Paw," he said. "It was my fault, everything that happened. But it's true about the black cats. I swear on the name of Jalal, it's true." His grandfather smiled sadly. "I know that," he replied, "and it's not your fault, not a bit of it. It's them. They don't even want to think anymore." They sat in silence together in the shadow of the wall. "Are you still going to tell me the tale of Jalal's greatest battle?" said Varjak after a while. "Against Salia of the north?" "Not tonight," said the elder Paw. "I'm afraid there are more important things to tell you first. You're still young, but I don't think we have much time, and you're the only one who'll understand." Varjak's skin tingled beneath his fur. Even after what had happened in the council, he was thrilled by his grandfather's words. "I'm ready, elder Paw," he said. "Then listen carefully. Jalal only knows what this gentleman's up to. But with the Contessa gone, it's more than we can manage. We have to get help from outside." "Isn't the world outside full of monsters?" said Varjak, remembering what his mother had said. "A monster's exactly what we need. A monster called a dog. The tales say they are huge and strong enough to kill a man. Dogs fill the heart with fear with their foul breath and deafening sound. But the tales also say Jalal could talk to them. So there must be a way to get their help, to scare this man away. Mother and father say the tales aren't true. They say they're only stories. Only stories? The elder Paw looked at him. And you believe that? Varjak looked at him, shook his head, and said, No. Good, because I'm going to tell you a family secret now, an old one. It goes right back to the beginning. Varjak's mind raced. This was the first he'd heard of any secret. Is it about Jalal? Varjak guessed. The elder Paw smiled in the dark. It is indeed. Everyone knows the tales of Jalal, but his way is a mystery, known only to a few. The way of Jalal? This was something Julius and the others knew nothing about, and the elder Paw was telling him, and no one else, him, the baby of the family, him who was so different, him that no one took seriously. Elder Paw was going to tell him the ways of Jalal. The way, said the elder Paw, has been passed down through the ages from paw to paw. Much of it has been forgotten over the years, lost and corrupted through time. Now only fragments remain. Perhaps the way will help us talk to dogs. Perhaps not. I do not know it at all, and I fear I won't have long enough to teach you the parts I know, but it's all we have left. Varjak felt strangely disappointed. Now he knew there was a family secret. He wanted to know it all. What was the point of a secret which was lost? Still, something was better than nothing. Tell me more, elder Paw, please. Come closer. Varjak bent towards him. Closer. He leaned right over, so his ear was by the elder Paw's mouth. You can see that. All alert and ready to receive this knowledge about the way of Jalal. There are 7 skills in the way of Jalal, whispered the elder Paw. His breath was warm in the cold night air. We only know 3 of them. So there's 7 in total, but elder Paw only knows 3. Their names are these: slow time, moving circles, shadow walking. He recited the skills slowly, in rhythm, like poetry. Learn these words and pass them on in turn. Slow time, said Varjak. Moving circles, shadow walking. He rolled the words over his tongue like a new taste again. Over his tongue like a new taste. Again, said elder Paw. Slow time, moving circles, shadow walking. His fur prickled at the strange words and sounds. Never forget this. Keep the way alive, Varjak Paw. Varjak nodded. The words, Jalal's words, were safe in his head. He would always remember them. Click, save, click, click. The back door swung open. Varjak and elder Paw looked around. The gentleman was standing there. By his shiny black shoes, there were 2 sleek black cats. That's the end of chapter 4. So the cats are real, those black shiny cats. But what's just happened? Elder Paw has shared the secret of Jalal with the baby of the family. It's Varjak Paw who knows 3 of the 7 skills of Jalal. Can you remember them? Can you remember all 3? Slow walking, moving circles, and what was the last one? Something to do with shadow and walking. Shadow walking? Was it shadow walking? Do I remember them all? Do you? Test yourself later. Okay? Now, don't forget at 8 o'clock today to go outside, clap for the NHS workers, cheer them on. They're doing a fantastic, fantastic job. And wherever you are, remember to stay safe and stay healthy. I'll see you later, reading chapter 4 tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in. Bye for now.